I would highly recommend you watch this whole entire video till the end because I am going to give you some insight that other people will not show you. If you are looking for an incubator to start hatching your own eggs, I've been sent this one free of charge so I can test it out for you and let you know how it works. So starting out, this holds 18 eggs if you're going to be incubating chicken eggs. And what that tray looks like is this right here, but they do provide you with another tray, and this is going to be for 8 large eggs. So if you are wanting to hatch goose eggs or duck eggs, this is the one you would want to use. So before we start the incubating process, which does take 21 days for chicken eggs, I do want to show you a little bit of the settings on the incubator itself. So the first thing that you may be seeing and wondering about are these 2 water bottles right here. So that makes this a self-filling incubator instead of you having to keep an eye on it and filling it up when it gets low. What this is doing is regulating the humidity, and you're also going to regulate that humidity with this ventilation hole right here. So the ideal humidity for chicken eggs through day 1 through 18 is around 50 to 60%. If you're somewhere in the middle in there, then that is just fine. But as you see here, these are labeled. So we have A and we have B. So this water bottle is going to be A and this one is going to be B. Now the reason why there are 2 is because throughout the first 18 days, you only need that 50 to 60% humidity. Once you get to what they call lockdown or day 18 through 21, you want that humidity to be spiked. You want that around 65 to 70%, somewhere in there, and you should be all right. That is when you would fill this water bottle. So I'm gonna go ahead and plug this in. Right here it does say power. Plug that in and it will automatically power on. So this already has all of its default settings, but you can change them if you want to. So we have Fahrenheit and Celsius right here, depending on where you live, if you want to change that. Then this setting button is how we're going to set our different temperatures. So for the temperature, like I said, it does already have a preset one, but I have found that around 99.5 does well for the eggs that I have hatched. So that's what we're gonna set it at. So the preset is 100.4, which you can leave it at. That is a fine temperature, but I just like having the 99.5. Like I said, I have found it to do well. Next are the days. We're gonna leave that at 21 days because that's how long it takes for a chicken egg to hatch. The next setting is going to be the egg turning time. So this is going to turn the eggs every 120 minutes. If you want to change that, you can. I'm going to leave it at that set one. And then that humidity level can only be changed with this right here. And I still have yet to figure out how to get the perfect humidity with this incubator. So we are going to be keeping an eye on that throughout the 3 weeks. So throughout the incubation process, the eggs do need to be turned, and this does have an egg turner, and you do want to test that by pressing the plus arrow, and as you see here, it is rotating as it should. Along with the incubation process, you are also going to want to candle the eggs, and what candling is putting a bright light up to the egg to see the embryo on the inside to determine if it is still growing or if it has died. And you do want to do that because if you leave a dead embryo in the incubator, there is the chance that it could explode and infect all of the other eggs. So you do want to keep an eye on that. This does have a built-in candler. Press that minus button and that light will light up. Candling is my favorite part of incubating, besides of course hatching day, because it is really neat to see those live embryos inside the egg. So that's pretty much all of the main features of this egg incubator that I think you need to know. So we're gonna do 10 and see how many make it. Most times the number you pick is not gonna be the number of eggs you have unless you get super lucky. So like I said, we're gonna go with 10, see what we end up with in 3 weeks. So the 21 days is up with the incubator, and we have some good and bad news. The good news is that we got some chicks, but the bad news is that we actually started out with 10 eggs. So we had some issues with the incubating process, And the main issue was that we couldn't get the humidity regulated. So throughout the candling process, we did have 3 that was not fertile, which is nothing to do with the incubator. So we actually had 7 fertile eggs that made it all the way till lockdown. So what lockdown is day 18, you take out the egg roller and you up the humidity for the last 3 days. So the humidity can soften the shell enough for the chicks to be able to break out of their egg. So as you see here in this hatching video, you can see that they are trying their hardest in order to get out. And once a chick is at this stage of hatching, they should hatch within a few hours. But with these 2, because of the humidity, their membrane had actually dried to them and there was no way for them to get out of the eggs themselves. So we did actually have to remove the eggs, which is not recommended unless your chicks are in an emergency like these ones were. We had to actually spray down the membrane to peel it off of the chicks. Now these chicks are 3 days old and you can still see that membrane was so dried to them that there is still some remaining on the chicks. And as you can tell, these chicks are pretty small. When they did hatch, one was a lot smaller than the other and they were pretty weak. So we have been giving them some electrolytes and hand feeding them, and they are really thriving now. But the first couple days of them hatching was kind of stressful because we didn't know if they were going to make it, and we were also expecting to have more than just 2 little chicks. So while we aren't fully satisfied with this incubator, I am still very happy that we were able to save these 2 chicks. So like I said, if you are looking to purchase an incubator, if you decide to purchase this one, I would recommend you keep a very close eye on the humidity levels, especially towards the last 3 days, to make sure that they stay up high enough in order for your chicks to successfully hatch without having to intervene. But if you are new to hatching eggs, or you're just concerned with the incubator after the information that I have given you, then I would highly recommend to look at different incubators and look through the comments and other reviews. Make sure that people are actually showing you chicks that they have hatched, not just telling you that they like the looks of the incubator or they like how it operates. You want to make sure that other people are having successful hatch rates so that you can make sure that you can get the most out of your incubator and have a very successful hatch rate with your chicks.